Hi everyone, welcome to Meramec Vineyards Winery. I'm Michelle.
I'm Joe.
And we're so glad you joined us today to do a wine tasting, whether you're at our location or you ordered it online and maybe you're watching it with friends virtually. We're just glad that you're here to try everything we have to offer.
Absolutely, and if you are here, thank you for coming in. This has been a passion of love for Michelle and I over the last few years, and we just love to pour our heart and soul into everything we're doing here at the winery. Make sure you check out all the drink options that we have. We try to have something for everybody here, whether that's on our menu or drink options as far as kombucha, sangria, craft beer. We actually, even have some tap wine that's up there that's not in your kit, so you may want to try some of that as well. But your tasting kit is going to look just like this. That's our patio pours, so it's really convenient for you to be able to take that with you to your table, sit down with a group, and tune into this video. So inside, you're going to have 9 different wines that we have here bottled. You also have your card, which you found. It's got your QR code for scanning in. On the other side, it's going to have a discount if you want to take a bottle of wine home. It's going to be 10% off of anything that you take home. And you also get your souvenir glass. When you're doing the tasting, we'll tell you this, I kind of like to grab the little cup that it's in, lay it on the table, and kind of hold my 2 fingers, there it is, over it like that. Pop the top off, that way you're not getting it all over your hands or anything else. You can use your wine glass. I actually, I encourage that. Get you a bottle of water as well with your wine tasting. You can just rinse in between and
Cleanse your palate.
Cleanse your palate and go from wine to wine. I prefer crisp, cold water for in between palate cleanses. It really cleans that flavor out. It gets your mouth tense and ready to go again for the next wine that you're going to be drinking. So we're in Missouri. So in Missouri, we like to do things our own way. So we start out traditionally with our red wines, and we work to our rosé, and then we finish off with our whites. And I always like to finish off lighter. We start with our Norton, which Norton is the first wine that you're going to pull out of your tasting box. Norton is a state grape of Missouri. So typically any winery you visit in Missouri is going to have their own take on a Norton. What I love about Norton's is Norton's an aging wine. So it's going to change every year in the barrel, in the bottle. Typically all Nortons are pretty much aged somewhere around that 1-year mark in American oak. Some people still yet doing French oak, which is great if you can get a hold of that pretty easily. But Norton's going to be very similar. If you've ever had a Cabernet, it's going to be very similar to that. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a full-bodied red wine. And you're going to have that oak finish to it because this one's going to be aged in American oak for 12 months. So, cheers.
So with the Norton, the reason I'm here, normally Joe likes to enjoy the tastings as he goes along with it. We've got 2 kiddos and they're with our parents, and so, not going to partake tonight, but the Norton goes great with steaks, any red meat, beef, lamb, aged cheeses, dark chocolate, and spaghetti, pasta dishes. We've made tomato soup with it. It seems, you pour some in the pot, you want more to drink for yourself, but it does make a tomato soup just have that nice roasted, rich flavor. So I'm here just to offer some pairings along with your information you're receiving.
If you're using your glass and you want to go ahead and rinse that out, just put a little water in your glass. That's typically what I do when I'm doing a tasting, and you give it a swirl. That's what I do like about the stemless wine glasses too, that are in your kit, as opposed to using the cups all together, is you can get that nose of that wine. So typically what you're doing is when you're just when you pour that wine in there, you're just aerating it. So you're going to be able to tell a difference before you do that. You'll be able to tell a difference if you sniff the wine twice, and it should open up. And that's a pretty neat property of pretty much every wine that you're going to see that's a drier one. Sweet wines do open up as well, but it's going to be more noticeable on your deep reds and your dry whites. So our next one in the lineup is going to be our Chamberson. So Chamberson is one varietal of grape. All the grapes that we have here at the winery are all going to be grown here in Missouri. And we source as much as we can locally first, and then we kind of just move out right here in the state of Missouri and work our way around. Chamberson's going to be medium-bodied, so it's a little lighter than the Norton is. There's no oak aging to this one, but it is still yet a dry red. It's going to finish off kind of what they call with a Merlot finish. Now this one's going to be very comparable to a Merlot. So what you're going to get from that is you're going to get that smooth, peppery type sensation. Now you don't, when you're talking about wine and some of the notes that come into them, that's not altogether going to be that flavor. It's just going to be kind of a warm sensation that you'll feel. So, cheers.
And you also can notice that on the grape. We had some grapevines along our property, which now, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, have been made into extra parking. We lost the beautiful grapevines, but you can taste that peppery sensation when they're close to being harvested. This one is unique, our 2015 Chamberson, so it's a very rare vintage, and we really enjoyed that one. You can pair Chamberson with mushrooms, burgers, pork, chocolate cake, figs and brie, cobbler. The cinnamon really picks up nicely with the Chamberson. The warmth of it makes a great wine if you're into mulled wine. Right now we're recording this and it's February. Groundhog just saw its shadow, so we're looking at more winter. So it's a great time to make mulled wine out of such a unique vintage.
Yeah, and that's a wine you can age as well. That's just specifically set aside to be aged. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Once again, if you just want to rinse your glass, you're more than welcome to.
Press pause if you need to. Yeah.
So what we're going to move on to now is our Silvio's Red. So we feel pretty grateful because here at the winery, Rosati and St. James has a lot of wine culture in the area. Rosati was the Italian community that's just right outside the city limits here, heading back towards St. Louis. And you'll see the grapevines from the interstate, but the Italian community settled here in the late 1800s, and they started growing grapes, planting vineyards, and supplying grapes to Welch's grape juice. And this is back before Prohibition. And at one time, this region was the largest supplier of Concord grape juice to Welch's Grape Juice Corporation. So that's a pretty cool fun fact. So they found a way to make it here and thrive. And there was several wineries. There's well over 100 wineries in the area, just pop-up wineries. Yeah, and they were really growing a great culture here in Rosati and St. James, but. Prohibition came along. Of course, they were burning vineyards. It was just
pouring wine on the streets.
Yeah, it was outlawed. So grapes. Of course, you can make wine out of it. I'm not saying it's easy, but grape juice can ferment, and then the process starts up. So, unfortunately, it never bounced back from that here locally. So, a lot of them had moved on. Meramec Vineyards was actually a vineyard long before it was a winery, and our vineyard was planted in 1921 by the Tessero family. Silvio, which was Silvio Flame, he was one of those original Italian immigrants. This is actually his recipe. It's a blended wine, so we actually blend this with a little bit of Syrah, Chamberson, and it's not uncommon for a lot of the Italians to have what you would call a field wine. This one's going to be a semi-dry. It's got a beautiful purple color to it that just lingers in the glass. It's a semi-dry. It's a great pairing with pastas, just as its namesake would be.
Italian food. Yeah. Charcuterie platters.
Cheers.
That one can be chilled. It's light enough that if you want to chill it, it'll sweeten up just a little bit, that fruitiness. Braised Italian sausages, meatballs, any Italian dish you can think of that has a red sauce, that's going to go great. It'll enhance any sauce that you put it in. The old vintage, we used to make out a vinaigrette out of it. So lots of different options. Visit your local bakery for some cannoli. Have a little sweet treat with it.
All right, so now we're gonna move on down to now we're gonna. I apologize if you're a sweet wine drinker. I always think it's great, especially to be at the bar and be with people that are like, I've never tried that, I've never tried this. It's everybody starts out drinking sweet wine. a lot of people work their way back. And once you start drinking sweet wines, you kind of want to, try a different one. Then you kind of get a little bit to the point where you realize that, hey, great wines go with, they're just as important as food pairings with your mood. So sometimes, like a rainy night, fireplace, Chamberson's going to be a great go-to. When we're in the kitchen trying to cook together, or I'm watching Michelle cook and getting in the way, Silvio's Red is a great one with that, I found out. So anyway, we're going to move on into some sweet ones. So this one's kind of on the verge of semi-sweet to sweet. This is our Route 66 Red. And this one's going to be a blended wine as well. So we use 4 different varietals in this. So we use St. Vincent and Chamberson varietals. Those are usually going to be on the drier side of things. St. Vincent usually makes a rosé. If you ever see one, that'll be pink. Chamberson you can make rosés out of as well, but most commonly they're going to be made as a red wine. And then the next one's going to be our Concord and Catawba. So Catawba also a rosé, but that will typically always be a sweet one. You're going to get a lot of residual sugar out of that grape and out of the Concord as well. So this one balanced this out pretty nicely. So you're not getting overpoweringly amount of sweetness to it, but it fits the bill. It's one of those probably the 2 wines that we have that actually is a crowd pleaser. Where if you have friends that maybe like it a little less sweet, and some people like it sweet, it's a good one for around the table.
This one makes a great souvenir too, because we just rebranded the label. So some of you familiar with Meramec Vineyards Winery, since 1999, 2000, it was New World Red. Route 66 Red, we're right in the heart of Route 66, right in the middle of it. And we just wanted a really great souvenir. It's got that great sunset. Everybody's wanting to travel right now, so if you can't travel, you can at least have a bottle and pretend you're on Route 66. And that one pairs well with spiced pecans, aged cheddar. We made a beautiful charcuterie one time. We had a wine dinner here, and we wrapped melon with prosciutto and just had it along the table on butcher paper. Makes really nice truffles. You can put it in chocolate truffles, and it can pair with savory or sweet, just depending on how you pair it.
And it's a great, like Michelle said, it's a great gift. A lot of people buy it, just because of the label of the Route 66. So we're fortunate to have that pretty local as well. So our next one is going to be your Romance Red. So this one's going to be a straight up, there's not a huge description about this wine. I mean, we label it sweet and seductive. It's the sweetest wine we offer by far. This is a very popular one around Valentine's Day, or just that person that loves a full out sweet wine. This one will fit the bill for this. So this is 100% Concord grape. Once again, this has been a really fun wine. A lot of times,
anytime you need to set the mood, right, you pick up a bottle of Romance Red.
That's exactly right. It's what I do. So, enjoy.
So that one, we jokingly say pairs well with love, apologies, chocolate-covered strawberries, flowers, and jewelry. The Concord is very similar with pairing as to the Route 66 Red. So you can pair that, fresh strawberries, truffles, anything that goes well with the Route 66. The Romance is going to take it over a notch with a little bit more sweetness.
And the area we're in, we typically do Concord here every year. So you'll see so we have a press right outside around the building, and that is functional if you get time to walk around and see that. But it's an outdoor press, so we usually just load up, tractors and wagons pull up, and we're pressing grapes, and it's a pretty cool experience just to see that color come right out of the bottom of that press. And you'll see a lot of grape stands up and down. If you're here in summertime, you'll see a lot of, late summer, early fall, you'll see a lot of grape stands opened and people crossing the interstate. We always call it grape season, and it's probably not the safest thing for anyone to be doing.
Definitely try the grape pie and the jellies. We sell Piazza Vineyards jelly that was pressed right here. We helped them press the Concord grapes, and they take the juice and make the jelly, and it's a whole circle process. We use that jelly in our kitchen on the brunch burger, so we really, want it to be a full circle experience. So make sure you pick some of that up if you're here too. It's amazing jelly.
So our what I usually use in between from reds to white is always going to be a rosé. So rosé is going to have that nice, pretty pink color to it. Neither a red or a white. Usually, kind of lives more on the side of a white wine because it's just light-bodied, very light-bodied. This one's going to be sweet and fruity. This is the Catawba grape. So Catawbas are, they're pretty widely spread throughout the state of Missouri. So a lot of sweet rosés that you'll see will be the Catawba grape itself. They're also, we share a very similar growing season with the state of New York, so you'll see a lot of Catawba in the state of New York as well. So this one's been a long time bestseller for us. Once again, labels. People walk in, they see the cat with sunglasses.
They love the cat.
Yeah. So, and this one's pretty near and dear to our heart. We found a purpose for this wine altogether. So if you look at the top of our labels, you'll actually see that $1 from every bottle actually benefits local animal shelter. And sometimes we spread out a little bit to St. Louis too, because we hit them all, and then we try to spread them out throughout the year and just try to offer them some help and assistance and let them know that we're thinking of them. So a lot of times, people will tag that on Instagram or Facebook.
So every month we pick a different charity. This last month we adopted a dog out of St. Louis. That's what Joe's talking about, St. Louis Eskimo Rescue, and he's a sweet boy. Sugar just turned 7. And then Whisker Stop is a local cat organization that we adopted our cat from. But we help, anywhere from angel funds at the vet clinics all the way, to Waynesville, Crocker, probably about a 50-mile radius. We're always looking for more suggestions of pet charities that need help. Anybody that's helping to foster, adopt, or rescue these pets, get them into loving homes, that's really important. So $1 from every bottle each month goes to a certain organization, and we've been able to save a lot of pets and help out. If there's a need that we see, they're calling for cat litter and they happen to be the charity of the month, we just send them the donation directly for that cause. So the Sweet Cat pairs well with spicy cheese, Thai food, anything spicy, hot wings, pork chops, cold cuts, light desserts. It'll tame that spice right away. It's just a fun one, great for barbecue.
Yeah, and that is a great point. Spicy foods with a rosé are perfect. I mean, when you're thinking that you need a glass of milk because those hot wings are just overpowering, you can just go to your bottle of wine. That's your milk replacement, right? And have a glass of that, and it's just the way it activates and just cools you down. It does very well with spicy foods. So now you have a reason to drink at an office party at work or whatever else if you're having Thai food. So now we're going to move down to our first.
Sure.
Just kidding.
There's a blooper.
So our first white wine that we're going to offer is going to be our driest one. So we're going to work on our dry, semi-sweet, and then we're going to go down to our sweetest white wine.
So now's a great time for a palate cleanse. If you haven't done it already, we're right in between. We're going to go into some drier wines. Yeah,
and the rosé, like I said, the rosé does a good job of that because it just cleanses, a little bit of that red wine down, and it's lighter, and it just eases you into it. But like I said, cold water is the best for that as well. Chardonnay. So this one's going to be medium bodied and dry. I love Chardonnay personally for a few different reasons. When you hear the name, you're going to be thinking Chardonnay, which a lot of Missouri wines actually have the ability to mimic a lot of Napa West Coast type of wines, but we're not able to grow those grapes here. They're just not hardy enough to survive in this climate. I mean, they thrive in a drier climate. That's why California and Napa Valley is perfect for them. They don't deal with a temperamental weather like we do here. One day here in Missouri, we always have that joke that if you don't like the weather, stay around for a little bit. Because it could be sunny and 75, and it could be snowing, it could be a hailstorm. We know this because all the umbrellas we have out back usually take flight pretty quickly, long before we can even know a storm's coming. But Chardonnay is very resilient, very hardy grape for that reason. It's going to have some apple and pear aromas to it, which I think come out very just amazing in this wine. I mean, once you get that glass up close to you, you're really able to take in that bouquet. Once again, this is a wine, a grape varietal that we share with the state of New York. So, I mean, don't think of New York as just New York City. It's a lot of farmland, a lot of viticulture up there, and we use a lot of grapes that are very similar to them down here in Missouri.
So with the Chardonnay, it pairs great with fish, chicken, light pasta dishes. You can use it in sauce. It's great with rosemary, any kind of cream sauce. Just feel free to add it to the pot. mushrooms, banana bread, and vanilla cake. It's amazing how the sweetness of the vanilla cake pairs with a little bit drier wine. You don't always see that, but it just really brings those aromas together, and it's a lot of fun to pair.
Dry whites on hot summer days are just very refreshing. So if if you're looking for something to set outside, and like I said, I'm always going to recommend a rosé for barbecue, but the Chardonnay does really well. Chicken,
Yeah, fresh vegetables on the grill. It'd be amazing with any kind of grilled vegetables or fish or chicken.
So our next one is going to be our Vignol. So Vignol can be labeled either way. I've seen a lot of Vignol labeled as semi-dry. I've seen them, labeled as semi-sweet. We particularly have ours as a semi-dry. It's just kind of a little bit of a dry finish. So the way you can always tell, a wine, whether it's dry or sweet, and you're kind of in the middle of it there, is at the very end you feel that kind of just a little bit of a tightening inside your esophagus and your tongue. You can feel it as well. But this one is actually a great summer pairing wine. We always tell people that this is one of our crowd pleasers as well. This is probably throughout the summer months one of our best sellers for the simple reason that it can fit the bill. I mean, if someone's not liking a altogether full sweet, and they're all about dries, or someone else likes a little sweet flavor, this one's got some pineapple fruit that really stands out in this. It makes you just feel a little bit tropical when you're having it, and it's light bodied. So I mean, it's a really good crowd pleaser.
So this one also, the Vignol pairs really nicely with spicier foods. We made a great curry mussels Joe still talks about. That was 2 years ago. We did a wine pairing dinner, and our kid was spray painting pineapples gold to line the tables, and it's a full family business here. But that spicy Thai food, Chinese or Mexican takeout, it's gonna be amazing to just have a glass while you're Netflix and take out, chill. Strawberry salad, we actually used it in a strawberry vinaigrette, was just incredible. Salmon with mango chutney and creme brulee. The creme brulee that we had at that wine dinner where I talked about the gold spray painted pineapples, we actually used strawberries and cut them to look like roses, and then used fresh rose and flower petals to decorate the top of the creme brulee. It's just, those are fun memories to have, and we're hoping eventually to be able to have people back in and gather and make those wine dinners and pairing dinners really special.
So our last wine that we've got right now that we have bottled is going to be our Celebration Cove. This one's pretty special to us because when we first started out in this journey, the Niagara grape, which this one is made of, we harvested that together as a family for the first time.
And that was in 2017 on our daughter's 4th birthday. So the whole family was in. We were out in the vineyards, cutting, I think we did 2 tons of Niagara grapes by hand, just like the 8 of us, and the kids were just running through the fields. But when you step out into the field of the Niagara grape, you just immediately get that sensation and that smell of what you're tasting in the bottle.
Yeah, the vineyards are very intoxicating. And you have that. Niagara is just it's a large grape. It's just bursting with juice. And when it's ripe and it's ready to go, I mean, your ideal level to catch that grape is when it's at its sweetest level. That's where you want it at.
And that's like the middle of August and the hottest part. So you have to start early. Your shoes are wet.
Yeah, because the one day it's there, and then the next day it's going the other way. That grape is starting to lose its sugar level there. What I love about Celebration Cove is it brings back those memories. It is our sweetest white wine. Until Romance Red, it was the sweetest wine that we had altogether. But the Niagara grape, once again, that's another grape that we share with the state of New York. What you can see from Niagara, a lot of times they're sweet enough that you can actually make an ice wine out of them. Ice wine is, once again, like I said, leaving them on the vine until they get to the certain point, they actually start to turn into a raisin, and the juice becomes sweeter as it's there, and it just keeps going. And then your first freeze, you would harvest press them out, and usually you'll see them in a lot smaller bottle. But Celebration Cove, once again, if you're a sweet wine drinker, this is going to be your jam, that's for sure.
We call it bottled sunshine. It just has that juicy, just like the grape flavor that you'd find at the vineyards. Pairs well with summertime. Any celebration. It's been a great gift to give people, whatever they're celebrating. Newly married, new parents. They need that bottle of wine for their first date night in. Brunch. It makes a great mixer with orange juice and pineapple juice, seafood, cheesecake, or bread pudding. So lots of different ways you can enjoy the Niagara grape. It's still so sentimental to us that I find myself still drinking the sweet whites, in the Vigneault. There's a place or time. Right now I can't drink anything. We're having a baby in a few months, but I'm looking forward to being able to try our wines again and, just remember, every bottle is filled with a memory. So we hope that you've enjoyed, this tasting and can visit again and take some home with you so that you can, remember your favorites too.
Yeah, we just want to thank you once again for coming out. We know you could have chose other places, and for your wine tasting, we hope that we give you a good experience. I mean, for me, it's more important at a wine tasting for you to have fun, for you to enjoy it, for you to laugh. That's what I like to see when I see people doing a tasting. I'm pretty animated. There's that word at the bar, and I like to make people laugh and just enjoy themselves, because I think that's the best pairing for wine. So hopefully you enjoyed what you drank today. If you'd like to take any home with you, or come on up and or ask your server. I keep saying come on up because we're waiting to get out of this. We're ready to go back to our normalcy, which is live music and events. We usually put on a lot of those events throughout the year, and it's just a great time. I'm a very social person, so 6 feet away doesn't work real good for me.
And if you're enjoying this video from afar, if you're not on location right now and you received your kit in the mail and you have questions about the wine, just send us a message. There's a contact us on our website, so feel free. We'll get right back with you by email, or you can place your order online and you'll get a discount as well, depending on what you buy. And we'd love to have you visit sometime if you're not here right now.
Cheers.
Thank you.